Hi, so today I want to talk about inclusive environments. So, the word inclusion is a word we utilize in school settings a lot of times, but obviously, you know what inclusion means. If you're including someone, they're involved, they're engaged, they're allowed to be with you, they're included in everything that goes on in that specific subject or area. So, in the school setting, we usually talk about inclusion as a child with special needs or a special ruling, if you will, an IEP. And that child being included in the general ed classroom. So, a lot of children with special needs, regardless of the severity of that, they have support services with special education. A lot of times they are pulled out of the general ed classroom for those services, and then they are put back in or included back in with the general ed classroom for other activities and other subjects. Now, that can be as intensive or as very basic and minimal as needed. And it all just depends on the situation that the child is in and the severity of the issue and how much support they need. So, inclusion in some settings is the child is in the gen ed room all day long, and then there's certain tutors or certain aides, if you will, assistants, whoever the teacher as well can come in and kind of work with them one-on-one here and there throughout the day, and even in the general ed classroom. They can pull them out for 30 minutes to an hour. They might be pulled out just for speech services or something like that. And then this can go all the way up to where there are some children that are in a special ed classroom pretty much all the time. And that's an extreme case where there's a lot of significant needs that cannot be met in the general education classroom. Now, per law, a child is entitled to have an environment where they are included with their peers as much as possible. Okay, so they're supposed to be served for their special needs, and the special needs are supposed to be addressed and supported so that they can be successful in school, but they are supposed to be in an inclusive environment as much as possible. Now, a lot of schools do this as best they can, and there are challenges, and they usually meet with the IEP team, including the parent, and they discuss this and kind of weigh out exactly what that looks like. That may change, obviously from year to year in school. It may change even from semester to semester and sometimes even month to month, depending on what is going on with that child and what grade they're in and just all the specific needs that are there. So, inclusion can be a kind of complicated thing, but it's an individualized approach to involving and including these children as much as possible with a general curriculum with their peers. And we don't want to pull them out for special services any more than we have to. We want them to be successful, and give them the support they need, but we want them to be able to be mainstreamed, if you will, as much as possible, just so that they don't feel left out and just so that they are getting all of the benefits of being in a general education classroom and have that camaraderie with their classmates and their general ed teacher. And there's so many applications for that, but just in general, that's a brief rundown of what inclusion is and inclusive practices should look like in a school setting. Now, we can also apply this to society as well. When you are planning things and involving others that might have special needs, you need to be inclusive. You need to invite them. You need to welcome them. You may need to have some options available to support them, just like people build stores with handicap ramps, or just like you build a store with a door that is wide enough to, for someone to access that's in a wheelchair. The same kind of concept there for people with special needs.